And now for a Next News special report.
Tonight, an urgent warning echoes across our republic. The U.S. stands at the precipice of a conflict with global implications, one that might drag us into Armageddon. But what's pushing us to the brink? Israel's response to a Hamas assault? And as Colonel Douglas Macgregor solemnly notes, the ensuing chaos could lead to cities like Tel Aviv under missile threats and Hezbollah's covert operation threatening our homeland. This isn't just about geopolitics, it's about our nation's safety. And with the stakes this high, you can't afford to miss a single detail. So stay with me, because by the end of this special report, you'll understand the magnitude of the danger we face. And you don't want to miss the final thought. Ladies and gentlemen, our commitment to delivering hard-hitting news is unwavering, but it's made possible by our trusted partners, the backbone of our operations. Just like we can't ignore global threats, you can't neglect financial stability, and that's where Noble Gold Investment comes in. Their team simplifies investing in precious metals, and many have testified it's honest guidance without pressure. With economic uncertainty looming, diversify into gold and silver and get a free 5-ounce silver American the Beautiful coin with select accounts. Visit nextnewsgold.com or tap more below to learn more. With Noble Gold, financial security is within your reach. Now we begin tonight in the Middle East. A region already teeming with tension now stands at a crossroads that could tip the global balance into chaos. The potential U.S. conflict with Iran, which could drag Russia and China into the fray, hinges on Israel's retaliation to a Hamas provocation. This isn't just a regional skirmish, the implications span continents. Colonel Douglas Macgregor, a voice of caution in these troubled times, has cast a spotlight on the perils we face. Iran, he warns, possesses missiles capable of striking key cities with Tel Aviv in their sights. Such an offensive could be retaliatory, especially if U.S. actions escalate tensions. Beyond intermediate military retaliation, Macgregor's insights reveal that the U.S. might be oblivious to broader implications, not least the involvement of major global powers. Watch.
We seem to be heading to war with Iran. Certainly the Biden administration is pushing us in that direction. What's new and interesting and ominous is that very few Republicans, the opposition party, are pushing back. Instead, some of the party's leaders are encouraging it. Former Colonel Douglas Macgregor is the CEO of Our Country, Our Choice, and one of the first people we turn to for analysis of events like this, because he is interested in what happens to the United States. Do you think that we are moving toward war with Iran?
Yes, I do. And it looks like the chosen destination is indeed Armageddon. There doesn't seem to be any real appreciation for the implications for us, and frankly, for Europe and the world, as well as the Middle East, of such action. Then when you look at the military side, you have to look at the arsenal of missiles that Iran possesses. And they can reach out 1,200 miles with great precision, very high explosive conventional warheads that would do enormous damage, destroying whole city blocks in places like Haifa, Tel Aviv, even Jerusalem, though I doubt they would attack Jerusalem. The bottom line is that we need to think this through, and everyone right now is emoting. There is no thinking anywhere, as far as I can tell. The only possible exception may be, amazingly enough, Mr. Erdogan in Turkey, who came out this morning and indicated he was willing to mediate the dispute between Israel and Hamas. Whether or not anyone in Washington or Israel is interested in talking, I don't know. But if we could sideline Turkey and keep Turkey out of the fight, that would ultimately help Israel enormously.
So what would happen to the United States if we followed Senator Graham's advice and just began bombing critical infrastructure in Iran?
Well, all of the bases that we have in Iraq and Syria, unfortunately, where we still have over 1,000 Americans, all of those would be targeted. And this time, they would target them accurately, and this destruction would be wholesale. I would expect trouble here at home and in the United States because of the open border. Hezbollah has a very large operation in Mexico. There are no doubt many Hezbollah agents inside the United States. We can only begin to imagine the kind of trouble they could cause. The missile and space program in Iran is very advanced, as is their cyber warfare capability. All of these things would be brought to bear against us. But what's most important, I think, for Americans to understand is if we attack Iran on the basis of Hezbollah's alleged willingness to attack Israel if Israel invades Gaza, we will end up in a fight with Russia. Russia will not sit by quietly and watch Iran destroyed by the United States air and naval power in the region. And once Russia enters this, it becomes much more than just a local conflict, maybe more than just a regional war. We haven't thought this through. We need to do that. And I doubt seriously at that point that the Turks would be able to stay out. The Turks are Sunni Muslims. They are the de facto leaders of the Sunni Muslim world. They have the largest armed forces in the region. They are in close proximity to Israel. They could move forces south through Syria very rapidly. And I'm sure Bashar al-Assad, assuming he even survives the opening of this campaign, would not obstruct them. And remember, we've already used up many of our war stocks in Ukraine, and we've left Ukraine in a state of ruins, places on life support, 500,000 dead. What are we going to do to Israel if we press ahead down this road? And it seems, listening to Secretary of State Blinken this morning, who more and more sounds like our commander-in-chief, that there is no room for negotiation, no room for mediation. Hamas must be destroyed. We must go into Gaza. If so, I think we're on this very dangerous road to Armageddon.
But there's more than just global military engagement at stake. The U.S. faces internal challenges with Hezbollah operations potentially operating covertly on American soil. These aren't just foreign policy matters, it's a direct threat to our homeland. The narrative thus far has been alarmingly simple. Hezbollah, as Iran's proxy, launches an attack on Israel, triggering a cataclysmic chain reaction. As highlighted by Lindsey Graham's words, the U.S. could find itself embroiled in military action aimed at disabling Iran's oil infrastructure, all in alliance with Israel. But what does this mean for us, the ordinary citizens of this republic? It's a query that few seem to be genuinely asking. Instead, the focus has been on military might, power plays, and political posturing. If we heed Senator Graham's advice and target Iran's infrastructure, the retaliation, as Macgregor underscores, would be vast and precise. Not only would American bases in Iraq and Syria face threats, but around 1,000 U.S. citizens would be at risk. Further, and perhaps even more daunting, is the potential economic fallout. A significant portion of the world's oil, approximately 20 and approximately 25% of liquefied natural gas, traverse the Straits of Hormuz monthly. This vital passage could see a shutdown, reducing oil from Iran by millions of barrels each day. The complexity of the situation cannot be overstated. The entire Middle East region is ensnared in this potential war, and it's not just Iran's game. As Macgregor astutely observes, this isn't an Iranian monopoly. The war that we're staring at isn't a lower-tier conflict. It's a high-end conventional battle. Worse still, the risk of this escalation to nuclear confrontation is real. Israel in this turbulent theater is the wild card. With known nuclear capabilities, the uncertainty lies in their threshold for employing such potential weapons. And once that line is crossed, global sentiment could drastically shift. Presently, Israel's primary concern is the Muslim world's opposition, but if they deploy nuclear assets, the world at large may turn against them. The immediate threats, Hamas and Hezbollah, while significant, perhaps divert our attention from the wider consequences. Engaging in urban warfare like in Gaza carries substantial risks. The potential for civilian casualties in such environments isn't just a moral dilemma, it's a strategic one. The dialogue between Tucker Carlson and Colonel Douglas Macgregor lays bare the precarious position the U.S. finds itself in. Macgregor's bleak predictions shed light on the severe repercussions of potential U.S. actions, the threats we face domestically from Hezbollah, and the disastrous outcomes such acts might precipitate. In essence, a hasty and ill-considered response could set into motion a series of events that lead us into a horrifying reality, an Armageddon, not in the distant future, but one that might just be around the corner. Now, the portrait painted today is undeniably unsettling, but it underscores the necessity for clear-headed deliberation and a deep understanding of the global chessboard that we are playing on. The threat is multifaceted, from potential missile strikes on major cities to covert operations on our home turf. But as history has taught us, escalation is seldom the answer. Perhaps now, More than ever, it's essential to reassess our strategies, consider the broader ramifications of our actions, and choose a path that doesn't inadvertently steer us towards a nuclear Armageddon. The decisions of our leaders in the coming days will shape not just our future, but potentially that of generations to come. Every American should be alert, engaged, and hopeful for a future where diplomatic solutions eclipse the war drums. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.